Lucy, and today I'm going to be doing my January wrap up. So this is where I talk about all the books that I read in January. So the first book is Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Promise Part 1, and this is a comic set after the show Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it is the first comic in the first trilogy set after the show. And in this one we follow directly on from where the show ended, so I don't really want to give any spoilers. It was quite good, but there was a bit in it that I didn't really like. For example, two of the main characters kept calling themselves something and it was kind of annoying, but the rest of it was cool. So this was very short, but if you do like the show then I would recommend checking out the comics. So I would recommend getting the bind up unless you like the covers for these individual ones, because they are like really pretty, and on the side you have the characters as well. So I do really like these editions, but they're just very short and it didn't take long to read. And I think I gave this 4 stars because I do love the show, so it kind of bumped it up for me because I love these characters and I was really interested to see more of them and to see what happens. So I'm really looking forward to checking out the next comic. The next book I read was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, and I do have a review up on my channel, or more of a book chat, because I did DNF this. So I will link that down below if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it. But this is a sci-fi set on Earth, and there are these statues that suddenly appear one day, and this woman notices them, and then she films herself with one of them and basically becomes famous, and she goes on TV shows, and there's a lot of talk about social media, and they're trying to work out what's going on. There's some mysterious things happening, so they're trying to solve this. And I DNF'd it mainly because I didn't like the main character. We're in her head all the time and I just wasn't enjoying it. But please check out my review if you want to hear more about that. I know a lot of people do love this though. The next book I read was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab, and I absolutely loved this book. So I have a review of this up on my channel. I will link that down below. And I did ramble a bit, but I did talk a lot about the book. So in this book we follow a character called Addie, and she is in the 18th century and she is due to get married to a man that she doesn't love, and she doesn't want to get married. She wants to be able to travel, and things happen and she ends up making a deal with a dark god, which means that she can be free, but there is a catch, and that is that no one will ever remember her. So this book is really sad, it is emotional, but it was also very epic, and we follow Addie for 300 years across a few different countries, and we see her relationships, and the book alternates between 2014 and moments between the past. And then later on we do get another character's point of view as well. So it is really interesting. It's an emotional read. Some really horrible things happen to her. But I read this book so quickly. I read like a massive chunk of it in a couple of days because it just really gripped me. So if you know any books that are like this, please recommend them to me, because I haven't read that much in a while and I just kept wanting to read. So that was great. Having said that, recently I have seen people talking about how Addie didn't go to other countries and it was mostly European centred. And I really do think that is important to note. The main places you see are France and America, and then there is also, I think, Italy and Germany in this book, and England as well. So you'd think over 300 years she would have travelled a bit more. Maybe she did, but it just wasn't featured in this book. So I think that would have been good to add. The next book I read was The Vine Witch by LaRue G. Smith, and this was sent to me from Kaylee. So thank you again so much, Kaylee, for sending this book to me. So this book was a weird one. It's one I featured in my January anticipated releases video, so I will link that down below as well. And it sounded really interesting, but the synopsis kind of misled me. And what I thought it was, well, it was actually different to that. So we're following this main character who is a vine witch, and she can use kind of like potions and things to make the vines grow so that they get delicious wine. And one day she is cursed and she is turned into a toad, and the first chapter we're literally following her as a toad, eating her own poisonous skin. So that was weird. And then she goes back to the vineyard where she used to work and live, and it's been some years, so things have changed and she's not happy about it, and she wants to get revenge on the person that she thinks cursed her. And I do have a review for this book coming soon, so I will give more in-depth thoughts there. But I just didn't enjoy this book. There wasn't really any chemistry between the two main characters. It was boring. There were mistakes in French, and my level isn't that great, but even I could realise that this wasn't right. So yes, there were things in here that I didn't enjoy, and I just really didn't like this book, and I think I gave it like 2.5 stars, probably 2 stars. I just really didn't like this book. So I'm really sorry, Kaylee, for that again. But it was definitely a unique read. I've never read a character being a toad before, so that was something. And then there are a few books that I started in January but I haven't finished yet. So in January I somehow decided to read 3 books at a time, which actually did work quite well for me because I did read quite a bit and more than I usually do, so that was great. So I will just briefly touch on the few books that I've started that I will be continuing hopefully in February. So the first book is The Well of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 2 in the Mistborn series. I have a review for book 1 on my channel, so I will link that down below. And I absolutely loved the first book. And this one I'm not enjoying as much. So I'm listening to it on audio and it's just taking me a very long time because I'm not wanting to pick it up. I'm just not enjoying it. The characters aren't communicating with each other and not much seems to be happening. Like some things are happening, but it's just a bit boring and I don't know, I'm just not really interested in it at the moment. I'm not enjoying it. So I have just under 4 hours left of the audiobook and I was going to try and finish it by the end of the month. But there are other books that I feel like reading, so I think I'm going to try and slowly finish it soon. Hopefully the ending will pick up and then I will enjoy it more. But yes, I'm going to try and finish this soon, so it will be in my February wrap up hopefully. And I may post a review of it as well. Then I also started The Rise of Kiyoshi by FCE. You can still see my sections in my book. So I mentioned that in my How to Read More video and I will link that down below as well. But I'm thinking of doing an updated version of that soon because this month I've tried some different things and learnt some things about what works for me. So if you would be interested in that, please let me know. And this is a book that is a prequel to the show Avatar The Last Airbender, and it follows an avatar who's the avatar before Aang. So we follow this character from when she's a child, and there's a case of mistaken identity and people don't actually know that she is the avatar and she doesn't actually know herself, I don't think, from where I've got to. And it's really interesting so far. I just ended up reading some other things instead and I just didn't get back to it. So I'm really excited to read more of this and I really hope that I can finish it in February. There are a lot of books that I want to read, but I really want to try and make this a priority because I was enjoying it and I love Avatar so much. And the next book is Three Dark Crowns by Kendall Blake, and I've got my bookmark in there so you can see I've only read a little bit so far. And in this book we follow 3 characters who are heir to the crown, and basically they're shipped off to different places and they learn to use different magic, and then when they come of age they will fight each other and one will win and they will win the crown, which is a very weird concept. And I think the chapters alternate between the 3 different women. So there was one that I was quite enjoying her perspective and then the next one I wasn't interested in as much. And the fact that it keeps changing kind of put me off reading it because I was enjoying the first bit and then the character changed and I was not enjoying it as much and it kind of threw me out of the story. So sometimes that happens when there is a change of point of view. So I do want to try and read more of this. It's just that I'm not really meshing with the writing style as much and I'm finding it difficult to engage in. But I am going to try and read this in February as well. And the last book is Graceland by Kristen Cashore. And I recently started this and I'm really loving it so far. And this is a book that I'm really feeling compelled to pick up more. And in this world there are people who have graces, which is like they have a particular ability that they're really good at. And the main character is good at killing people, but she doesn't want to kill people. And she kind of tries to incapacitate them instead of killing them. And at the beginning, she is trying to free someone. And I haven't got very far yet, but it is really interesting. I'm really enjoying it. And I think book 4 in the series recently came out. So I'm really hoping that I will love this. And then I have a new series to read. So that would be great. So those are all the books I finished or started in January. Please let me know any books that you finished and started in January, and if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. I'm really hoping to read some more in February, so thank you so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe if you would like to, and please check out my other videos if you would like to, and I will hopefully see you in another video soon. Bye!